What's happening, YouTube? Guys, I want to do this video on freight shipping on eBay. I've dealt with a lot of different scenarios over the years, and one that doesn't come up too much, especially if you don't deal with shipping larger items on eBay, is freight shipping. I, for instance, do ship quite a bit of large stuff, so I've dealt with this, and let my past mistakes and my learning over the years be the way that you prevent making the same mistakes that I've made. Because if you make these mistakes, I assure you, it can be incredibly costly. Either by having to refund all or part of your money, and or getting a negative, possibly both. You may end up out of money and end up with a negative on top of the whole thing. So without further ado, freight shipping dues on eBay. Guys, these are really, really important, okay? So if you're going to list something that requires freight shipment, obviously under your shipping and handling, you want to choose freight shipping. And when you do that, what eBay is going to do is they're going to say, shipping is not specified. Please contact seller for a quote. But what I like to do in listings that I list that are actually going to be freight shipping is I have a completely different template that's set up that I use for freight shipping. And anytime I go to list something I know is going to be over, if I'm using FedEx, is going to be over 150 pounds, that I've got to do freight on it. So here's some things that you definitely want to do. You definitely want to have this information within your listing. List the specifics, and when I say specifics, this is what I mean. You want to list, for instance, the size of the item. So you want to give your description, give your section of what things are included with the auction, and then have another section below that are shipping specifics, is what I call them. And you'll list those out and bullet point those in such a manner that it makes it really easy to read. This will cut down on the amount of questions that you get as well. Sometimes take into consideration that some customers may want to get their own freight shipping quote, and whether that be to compare to your quote that you give them, or maybe they just have somebody that they use. So what you want to do is in that shipping specifics section, you want to list the size of the item. For instance, we'll just use a general size for a pallet, because that's typically, if you're going to ship freight, you're going to use a pallet. Standard pallet is 48 inches by 40 inches. You'll also use the height. Now consider that you'll need to add 5 inches to whatever height your item is to account for the height of the skid. Okay, so in parentheses after I give the dimensions, in parentheses after that I put includes pallet. Same thing for the weight of the item. Take into consideration that the average skid, pallet, whatever you want to call it, weighs between 40 and 45 pounds. So you'll take your total weight of your item plus, let's just say 45 pounds to be on the safe side. And then in parentheses after that, you'll put includes pallet. The next thing on your list needs to be your ship from zip code. What zip code are you in that the item is going to be picked up from? The third thing that you're going to put in is, you need to put business or residence, semicolon. For me, it's business. For those of you out there, it may be residents, but you need to specify and let your customer know where this item is coming from. Is it going to be picked up from a residence, or is it going to be picked up from a business? Because trust me, when you go to get a freight shipping quote, it makes a difference. Okay? Even if you have a forklift at your house, it makes a difference if that semi has to navigate through narrow areas into a neighborhood to make a pickup. So, are they picking up from a business or a residence? The next one on the list is going to be forklift or loading dock. Okay, even though you let's say it's a pickup from a residence, you may still have a forklift at your house. So, if you do not have a loading dock or a forklift available at your location, and the item cannot physically be picked up and put onto the truck by your hands, you'll require a lift gate. Liftgate usually costs anywhere from between 40, depending on the carrier, between 40 and 50 extra dollars on top of whatever the base freight shipping charge is. Another thing that you want to put in there, because if they're going to try to set this up, you want to cut down the amount of questions that are going back and forth, because time is money. Pickup times. What days and times are you available? For instance, for me, I'm Monday through Friday, 5:30 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. So those are my pickup times. Those are my pickup days. Another thing, do they want insurance? Now this is where you need to be really specific. Okay, insurance. If you don't get insurance on a freight shipment, your item is insured through the freight company. But consider this: it's only covered for approximately 10 cents per pound. So if you have an item that weighs 10 pounds, then you've got $1. Even though the item may have sold for $500, you're only going to be covered for $1 if that item gets damaged. Okay, so you want to get extra insurance. Just add that into the quote. Don't even ask. I typically don't ask my customers, simply because it can be a nightmare if you don't get it and something happens. Okay. Insurance cost is based on the final value of the actual product. So it's typically depending on where you go. I usually go to insureyourfreight.com. They've got some of the best quotes out there, some of the best rates out there. It's typically between $20 and $25 per $1,000 insured. So if you have a $2,000 item, you're probably looking at $50 to insure it. Okay. The insurance must be put in place before the item is picked up. Okay. Keep that in mind. Now, specifics on getting that insurance, because this is really, really, really important. Okay. The funky thing about freight shipping insurance is this. Okay. Like I said, the insurance must be put on the item before the item is shipped. Now, here's the important thing. You need to not only specify this within your listing in bold red print, you also need to send your buyer an eBay message specifying this information. You also need to send your buyer an email specifying this message. You need to title these messages and emails important regarding recent eBay purchase. When your customer receives that item that they bought, when that freight company arrives, takes it off the truck, puts it on the ground, your customer must, now this is not even a question, your customer must inspect that item in its entirety, okay? And when I say in its entirety, I mean the whole fucking thing. They have to unpackage the thing. They have to look inside. They have to look on the exterior. And if there's any damage, even if it be the slightest amount of damage and you think it makes no difference whatsoever, they have to mark it on the bill of lading, okay? Make sure your customer's aware of this. If there's any damage, no matter how slight that damage may be, they need to mark it on the bill of lading. Now, another thing that I would recommend, if the damage is significant enough to where they think it may prevent the product from operating the way it was intended to operate, this is typically the best option. Refuse the shipment. Write on the bill of lading that the item was damaged, refusing shipment. Make sure your customer knows to do this. Make sure your customer knows that if in fact they refuse the item or there's damage of any sort that they've notated on the bill of lading, they need to contact you immediately. Once you've received the information from them, notify them that you also need pictures, time frames, name of the driver, all the information that's pertinent regarding the shipment. Get that information from them, contact the insurance company, provide them that information, and you should be good to go. Now, in the ridiculous situation that your buyer does not listen to you. Perfect example. I sold an autoclave to a guy out in California. He buys this thing. I have the information notated in my listing what he needs to do. I sent him an eBay message. I sent him an email. Not only that, but the printouts that go on all four corners, all four sides of the shipment, and the special instructions say specifically, please inspect package in its entirety before signing off on bill of lading. Okay? But if your customer decides, like my customer decides, that they don't want to worry with inspecting it before they sign off on the bill of lading, and the freight driver takes his ass off, guess what? $4,000 autoclave that I sold. My customer didn't inspect it. The driver leaves. He signs off the bill of lading. The driver leaves. He gets it inside. Hour later, he opens the package up, realizes that either they ran into it, they dropped it, or something fell on top of it, crushed the top of it, and destroyed the autoclave. $4,000 item. Now my customer's calling me saying, there's damage to this. What do we need to do to move forward? I don't know. You might want to call somebody and get a quote and see about getting it fixed. Because at this point, it's not my problem. I've took every precautionary measure possible to make sure you had all the information available to you to do what you needed to do. You chose not to listen to me. You chose to ignore my message. Now, obviously, this is not how I talk to my customer. And make sure you don't either. You know, you've got to be sensitive. You've got to put yourself in their shoes. You got to think of how you'd feel if you fucked up that bad. Be as kind and as nice as you can possibly be. But look, guys, I cannot stress the importance of this video, of this topic. If you do freight shipping on eBay, I cannot stress any of this enough. Guys, if you have any questions, send me a message, send me a video response. However you want to do it is fine. But I'll continue to provide these videos, make these eBay videos of things that as they come to my mind, I'll go ahead and make videos. Anything that, if you guys have anything specific that you want me to touch on, anything that'll make things easier, help you better understand a process associated with eBay, feel free to ask me, message me, whatever's easiest for you. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. I hope you enjoy your time with your family. Relax. Don't work unless you're me. Enjoy life. God bless every last one of you. And good luck in all you do. Till next time.